Good morning. It is truly a privilege to join you all, albeit virtually, for the fourth Global Africa People-to-People Forum. To the organizers, attendees, and most importantly to my brothers and sisters from across the Caribbean and the African diaspora, I extend the warmest greetings. I'd like to begin by commending the African Union Economic, Social, and Cultural Council, the Caribbean Pan-African Network, and the Emancipation Support Committee of Trinidad and Tobago for bringing us together in this important space. This gathering stands as a powerful symbol of Pan-African unity and collaboration. I say to you that your theme, Justice for Africans and People of African Descent through Pan-African Solidarity and Reparations, is not just apt, but comes at a most appropriate time as this forum seeks to situate itself within a wider framework of global and continental imperatives and readiness to confront historical injustices and to advance a more just and equitable future. May I humbly advise that the Global Forum has its work cut out for it, as it sits within the United Nations Declaration of 2025 to 2034 as the second international decade for people of African descent, and the African Union theme for 2025, Justice for Africans and People of African Descent through Reparations. Let me note that when we speak of reparations, in addition to the acknowledgement and sorrow for past wrongs, we recognize that repair and compensation must be made for wrongs suffered through the transatlantic slave trade, the indigenous genocide, and the colonialism that we endured. And also, my friends, for the denial of fair access to resources for development, which has continued to bedevil us to the present. I remind us that the African continent and the Caribbean community started the journey of independence with a deficit of resources, a deficit of fairness and opportunity. As we seek to right that wrong through reparatory justice, the next generation must commit to meet the second part of the challenge, which is to lead us, the sons and daughters of Africa, into a transformation of our personhood through self-repair. It cannot be disputed that 2025 presents a key moment in the global discourse on justice and reparations. Heads of government will have the opportunity to meet at the second Africa CARICOM Heads of Government Summit, scheduled to take place on the 7th of September in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Indeed, it will be the place where we reconvene at Adwa, given that it was the Battle of Adwa that led effectively to the emergence of the Pan-African community globally. We look forward to this meeting, deepening the interregional relations as it aims to identify and pursue opportunities for increased trade and investment between Africa and CARICOM, promoting economic growth and development, and indeed solidifying the brotherhood and sisterhood that is ours to do after so many generations of separation. We will continue to work assiduously as well on the Bridgetown Initiative, which seeks to reform the global financial system to better assist climate vulnerable nations and small island developing states, wider developing nations like those found on the great continent of Africa and those found in the Caribbean. The Bridgetown Initiative aims to address issues like debt burdens and insufficient financing for climate action by increased funding, or indeed funding for development, which more often than not is too short term and indeed too expensive at the same time, crowding out the capacity for us to meet developmental goals. It also requires a serious consideration of the reforms necessary for the international financial institutions themselves who serve us. The initiative seeks to change the rules of the game, my friends, to shock-proof economies and to dramatically increase the financing for the Sustainable Development Goals and climate action specifically. All of this is to say, we simply are calling for a fairer and more just system to give nations like ours a real chance, and indeed for us to keep people and planet at the core of all that we do. As I said, we have to confront the global climate crisis. We recognize the disproportionate impact of the climate crisis on Africa and in the Caribbean. And one only needs to look at the map of Africa to see the extent to which the desertification of Africa and the droughts are causing serious stress for the people who previously would have had access to water and capacity to feed themselves. across many parts of Africa. The second Africa CARICOM Summit will also allow heads of government to focus on climate mitigation and adaptation strategies, therefore, including the promotion of renewable energy, the recognition that there are hundreds of millions of people in Africa still without electricity, and the plans are only so far to secure 300 of the 600 million without electricity, to ensure that we have sustainable food systems, and to ensure that we have access to green technologies. It will provide a possibility, my friends, for solidarity and collaboration as we prepare for COP30 in Belém, Brazil, which, as you know, is a critical COP for all of us. So as we, the sons and daughters of Africa, work to address the historical and structural injustices that continue to shape the lived realities of African peoples on the continent and across the diaspora, let us acknowledge that these initiatives cannot be achieved if we do not strengthen the cultural exchange and the people-to-people connections between the two regions through initiatives such as this Global Forum and through increased artistic, cultural, and sporting exchanges. That is why I'm so happy to be the head of government that will be carrying on this year for the hosting of CariFesta, ensuring that we not only reflect what we have to offer in the Caribbean, but also create an opportunity for those from Africa, the place from which we have come, many of us, to be able to also showcase what they have to offer to our people here in this region. So if you're in Barbados around the 22nd to the 31st of August, you will have an explosion of that people-to-people solidarity and creativity to which I just spoke. My friends, it is with these words and well wishes that I once again extend congratulations to the organizers of this forum and wish all the participants success in your deliberations as we struggle to achieve, yes, peace, prosperity, and justice. Thank you very much.